Well, good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. If you've been paying attention lately, you may have noticed that President Trump doesn't like the media, and the media fervently don't like him back. It is a hate-hate relationship, and it seems to be getting more contentious by the day. Consider CNN's headline just this morning. So the president, you saw yesterday, got a strikingly positive health evaluation. Here was CNN's take on it. Quote, overweight and doesn't exercise. In other words, doctors say he's fine. CNN calls him fat. Well, this has been going on since the very beginning, except for the day that he lobbed cruise missiles into Syria, which delighted official Washington, as it always does. Virtually all of Trump's press coverage has been negative. Reporters don't simply disagree with the administration on policy, though they do. They feel personal contempt and loathing for the president, and their bosses have encouraged them to express it. In return, the president has struck back, dismissing the media as fake news. In many cases, he's been right. In others, he's just attacked news he doesn't like, just like all politicians do. Now, under normal circumstances, part of the remedy for this would be a responsible media establishment. Reporters would raise their standards and run fewer false stories. But these are not normal circumstances. Suddenly, there's a massive and eager audience for conspiracy theories. And that is exactly why they're going 24/7 with this Russian nonsense on some of the other networks. It is very lucrative for them. But there's another reason, too. In the America of 2018, victimhood is power. Instead of improving their journalism, it's easier for reporters to complain about how their voices are somehow being suppressed. The irony, of course, is that free expression really is under attack in this country at the moment, but most journalists don't seem to care or even notice it. Heterodox views are shouted off campus and often threatened with violence. Twitter routinely bans accounts for expressing viewpoints its executives oppose. Google tampers with its search results secretly to hide ideas it doesn't like and then fires employees who express those ideas. And yet, weirdly, the media applaud all of this. They are not defenders of free expression. They are guardians of orthodoxy, elite orthodoxy. Today, Republican Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona took their side. In a speech on the Senate floor, Flake compared Trump's criticism of the media to the Soviet dictator Joseph Stalin, one of history's most prolific mass murderers, because, of course, barking at Jim Acosta during a press conference is a lot like building death camps or staging a famine in Ukraine. No one ever accused Jeff Flake of being a genius, though he is right on one point. Government often is the opponent of free expression. Remember, for example, when President Obama kicked newspaper reporters off his campaign plane because their coverage of him wasn't favorable enough. You don't remember that? Well, it actually happened. Then there was the time the Obama administration threatened to ban Fox from the White House press corps because we didn't suck up hard enough, or the time the Obama administration subpoenaed the phone records from the Associated Press, or the time they named Fox News reporter James Rosen in a criminal complaint. Back in 2010, President Obama actually described this news organization, Fox, as, quote, destructive for the long-term growth of a country that has a vibrant middle class. In other words, Fox News causes poverty. Now, these attacks on press freedom went on for years. Where was Jeff Flake then? We don't remember him comparing Barack Obama to Joseph Stalin or even bothering to defend us. Jeff Flake didn't hate Obama the way he hates Donald Trump because Obama didn't threaten the comfortable little sinecure that Flake had carved out for himself for so long. If you're Jeff Flake or Lindsey Graham or a dozen other Republican senators who secretly despise their own voters, the Obama years were a perfect time for you. You could complain about Democratic control of government in a low-grade way, play the role of a principled opposition, give a few floor speeches, do a few TV hits, and then go home. You didn't actually have to do anything or change anything. It was the political equivalent of a no-show job. It was nice work if you could get it. There's a reason Republicans haven't delivered a single major conservative law since welfare reform, and that was more than 20 years ago. No wonder guys like Jeff Flake loathed Trump. He called their bluff. Suddenly, Republicans have all the power. For the first time in decades, they could actually do what voters have consistently asked them to do for years. Secure the borders, this time for real. Slow the flood of immigration that is making America poorer, more crowded, and dangerously unstable. But they don't want to do that, mostly because their donors don't want them to do that. They can't admit that, of course, so they call Trump Stalin. Suddenly, it all makes sense. John Daniel Davidson is a senior correspondent at The Federalist, and he joins us tonight. John, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
So Trump hates reporters. I can certainly see why reporters don't like that. I don't always like his criticisms of the press. They strike me, though, as less dangerous as an actual Stalinist dynamic where the press sucks up to people in power. And I'm struck by how common that was for the 8 years preceding this administration, and no one ever said anything about it. Why?
Well, you're absolutely right. You had reporters from mainstream outlets routinely take private meetings with President Obama and be fed stories and narratives, as the Obama administration liked to say, and then come back and regurgitate them point by point in support of whatever Obama administration policy was being sold to them that day. This was the standard operating procedure for major news outlets for 8 years. And now they have the Trump administration, which offends them and their sensibilities, and they're offended by the policies that the Trump administration is trying to push. And so they engage in this sort of hysterical, overblown criticism that we saw Jeff Flake kind of join in on today on the Senate floor. I
mean, Jeff Flake is a mediocrity, but I'm irrelevant and is retiring. But I'm interested more in the reporters who really do shape our understanding of what's going on in the world. It seems weird to me that they're ignoring the actual crisis in free expression, which is real. So I've been in the workforce 26 years. There's never been a time in my lifetime where more people were fired more quickly for expressing their opinions in the workplace. This is an epidemic. I don't ever see coverage of that. Why?
Well, like you said before, the press chooses not to see that because all the people who are getting fired have the wrong views. You know, you look back to the firing of Brendan Eich at Mozilla as kind of a canary in the coal mine. You know, that seemed like a long time ago, but that was a harbinger of things to come that are very widespread with organizations like Facebook and Twitter that are essentially media organizations now that function like media organizations that have these draconian policies where they're obviously censoring views that they don't like. They're obviously don't really care about free expression. You saw these undercover videos of Twitter executives saying, oh, yeah, we cooperate with the Chinese government in expelling and banning people from Twitter all the time. They're not really interested in free expression. And it's troubling to see just how disinterested they are and uninterested they are in the issue at all.
But they're the guardians. They're the opposite of what they ought to be. They're the guardians of orthodoxy rather than the defenders of heterodoxy. A journalist should instinctively take the side of the one guy who stands up with a different opinion. You saw James Damore at Google get fired for writing a pretty benign personal email or memo about diversity. And you saw the whole staff of Business Insider practically piled on and said, I'm glad he's gone. He's a threat to the Republic. What happened? Who are these people posing as journalists?
Well, you know, the one thing Jeff Flake gets wrong and the mainstream media gets wrong is that the number one, threat, if there's a main threat to our democracy when it comes to the media, it's that the media has totally thrown away its credibility with the American people. There was this Gallup poll out that showed more Americans have a negative view of the media than have a positive view of the media. That's not good for a democracy. We need to have a robust, credible media to hold power accountable and to inform the citizenry. And we don't have that right now because the media does not see itself as the guardians of free speech, the guardians of common Americans holding power accountable. They see themselves as, as you say, protectors of the status quo.
If they were half as skeptical of big business as they are of Donald Trump, we'd be a lot safer. I would be a lot happier. John, thank you.
Thank you.